In this video, we're going to talk about how sales orders are synced when it comes to the sales orders that are imported from your Shopify store into your Katana account. So to start this off, we'll do a quick recap of the settings that we have created on our Katana Shopify integration, and also start to create sales orders from the Shopify backend so you can see how they look when they pull into Katana. So let's get started. So first things first, if we take a close look at the settings that we've already set up for this integration, you can scroll to the integration menu, select reconfigure, and have a little once over on what the sync settings look like. So we're syncing order changes, we're syncing order fulfillment status, and we already talked about stock syncs. So these two are the important ones that I want to talk about in this video. So we'll go ahead and exit out of that now that we know what it looks like. So first things first, let's go ahead and create a sales order in our Shopify store so you can see how that pulls over into your Katana account. So heading over to Shopify, we'll select create an order. Now, when you create an order in Shopify, we're going to do a couple of things a little differently, so that way we have something to work with when I'm showing you exactly how the edits work for the syncing that takes place. So let's go ahead and add a couple of products. First one will be American Blend Coffee. We'll pull the 500 grams. We'll add that to the sales order. Let's go ahead and do 2 of those. Let's also add a couple of the Brazilian ones. See what we have available in stock here. 250. We'll add that to the sales order. Put a couple in like so. So here's what we've done. We've added 2 products, a couple of units of each product, and we'll keep it nice and simple for that purpose. Now, the next thing I want to show you is when we talked about the custom items that are from our Shopify settings, we have it set up so that way if it's added to a sales order using the add custom option inside of Shopify, then this will actually be created as a brand new product in Katana. So here's how things work whenever sales orders are generated in Shopify. So when a sales order is created in Shopify, a customer goes to your website, they add something to the cart, and then they pay for it. What it does is it creates a sales order in your Shopify backend that is listed as paid for but unfulfilled. So there's a financial status and a fulfillment status. Paid for means that they've spent a credit card on your website and then the transaction has taken place. Unfulfilled means that the order is in an open status waiting to be sent out to your customer. Now, when those orders are created, what happens is a sales order document is generated. In order to generate a sales order document, you need a couple of pieces of information. You need a customer to associate it with. You need the products and the quantity of products that have to be added to it. And generally with any sales order, you're going to have things like bill to address as well as delivery address, to name a few. Now inside of Katana, now that you've already imported all of your products and you've imported your customers, anytime you're making those sales documents, the first thing Katana will do once it imports a sales order is it's going to look for a match for your products and a match for your customers. If you generate a sales order that, let's say, combines new products or has new customers that aren't available yet on your Katana account, then actually not only does it create the sales order on your Katana account, it also imports the new customer and it imports the new product. So it's really quite handy in actually expanding your portfolio of products. Some customers that I've spoken with in the past that are Katana users, they say, well, sometimes we add our new products to our Shopify store before we add it to our Katana store. Normally it's the other way around, but you never know how it happens with respect to the way you do your business. Resellers, for example, are like this. And so when the sales order is generated, it'll find the match and then associate with the match. But if it doesn't find the match, then it makes the new product. So as an example, this case where we have the setting of add a custom item as a new product in Katana, if we add that custom item into the sales order on Shopify, then it will be added as a new inventory-based product on our Katana account. If we have that checkbox turned off inside of the settings, it won't. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. I'll add an item and I'll just call it custom coffee blend. And then I'll give it a price. Let's say 20 euros, 1 unit. Won't worry about item weights or anything like that. A lot of those are very specific to Shopify, so we won't be using those for our overview with respect to Katana. Okay, so once that's done, I'll go ahead and add the custom item into this order, and that will be added here, custom coffee blend. Pretty straightforward. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add a customer. So maybe I'll add John, something simple. So this customer is already pre-existing in our Katana account. So if, for example, we're looking at our contacts list, you'll see that this customer was imported. It would be John. Somewhere in here, we'll have John. Down here at the bottom, this guy, John is here, 234 ABC. And since we have that guy inside of this Katana account, then it will find him and use him as a match for the sales order that comes in. If he doesn't exist on this list, then it'll just add a new name and email address for that contact customer record. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Now we have a draft order that we're in the process of making. I've got contact information. I've got a very simple shipping address, but you can also assign a billing address. Now the information that comes over on a sales order that will be pulled in on a new sales order creation is the sales order number. It will also include the creation date. So whenever that sales order reaches its paid status, that'll pull over as the creation date on its Katana side as well. Delivery date is not something that will be included. Customer name, billing address, shipping address will come over. All of the line items that are matching, any new line items will pull over. Quantity, price per unit, as well as tax rates. And if you're using multiple currencies, like we are in this account, I have this Katana account set up under US dollars, but I have the Shopify account set up in euros. It'll pull in with the converted currency. So again, if you're using an advanced subscription package, that's what it will pull over as. Okay, that looks good. Everything is nice and settled. Let's go ahead and collect payment here by choosing Mark as paid. Now this will just create the sales order with unfulfilled state and paid status since I'm manually creating it. You would have to try this and pretend as if you're generating an actual sales order on the front end or the customer facing end in order to mimic a real checkout experience, but we'll just do this type in order to mimic what it does in the integration. So we'll choose Mark as paid, and this sales order will now be created. And it should appear on our order list like so. So this is order number 1031 for our customer John. So if we look on our sales order list in Katana, we should see 1031 here at the bottom of our list like so. So pretty straightforward. And if we open it up, and you will see that we have these two coffee listed like so. And then we have this new custom coffee blend added as a new product into Katana. That's where you'll see like there's no recipe associated with it. There's nothing available in terms of stock. So how you choose to handle that, maybe it's a make to order use case. You can choose the make to order workflow to solve that customer scenario. For this use case, we'll go ahead and choose the Make to Order button because that is obviously a custom coffee blend that needs to be made for this customer. Okay, so when it comes to the sync settings, and I'm not talking about fulfillment settings, but more specifically like information in the sales order, there are 5 items that Katana registers with the sync of a sales order between Katana and Shopify. These include adjustments of quantity, any items that are added to the sales order, cancellation of the order, deletion of the order, or deletion of an item in the order, or the archive of a sales order. Anytime you have, let's say, a Shopify return, these don't sync over, so these are done manually. Or anytime you're making changes specifically on the Katana sales order, those don't necessarily update back onto the Shopify side. So again, this sync only occurs with the source being Shopify making changes to the corresponding and linked Katana sales order. In other cases where you make an adjustment here on the Katana side, it doesn't sync back to Shopify. So we'll go ahead and do a couple of examples, and I'll show you how this works inside of this particular order. So let's head back over to the Shopify dashboard. And here we're going to adjust the quantity. So let's say, for example, we want to edit the order and we want to adjust the quantity from the American blend of 500 grams from 2 units to 3 units. Then how will that reflect in our Katana side? So once we go to 3 and we choose done, then that adjustment will be made here. We'll send the invoice to the customer as the update, and then the adjustment is taken place. So now on the Katana side, since that order is synced, we can go ahead and refresh this page real fast. And you can see that the American Blend 500 has now increased from 2 to 3. If we also want to add an item, let's say, for example, we will edit this again, and then we choose to add another product. This is probably a bad example. Let me use the Brazilian one. We'll do a 500 gram, and we'll add that line item to this order. Send the invoice to the customer to update the order. And then it should add another row in this sales order. So I'll refresh the page. And that's how you add additional items into your Katana account through changes that take place on the Shopify side. If we delete, let's say, a line item, let's see how this looks. Let's go ahead and remove the custom coffee blend. And we'll update the order. Then what this will do is it will remove that line inside of your Katana account. Refresh. And the custom coffee blend is now removed. So when this removal takes place, it will also take out the make to order that's linked to it based on that adjustment. So that looks good. And also, if we decide ultimately to cancel the order, like so, then this sales order will be canceled. And let's see what happens to 1031 when a cancellation takes place. You can see that it ultimately goes away. 1031 is no longer on this list. So order syncs that are taking place on the Shopify side in real time will also adjust those types of scenarios here on the Katana side. Now, a couple other things to note is that if, for example, you have multiple Shopify stores connected to your Katana account, all of those will work exactly the same way per store. So if every single store has the same sync settings turned on, then any order associated with that store on your Katana side will operate in exactly the same way. Some customers, depending on your workout, how you work out with things, they might have different sync settings for each different store, depending on what it is that you want to support in your workflow. So do keep those types of things in mind, but do understand that every single store setting is specific to that store and the order sync to that store. So that should be a nice overview of how order syncs when edits take place between your Katana and your Shopify account.